What is in a name? Today I'd like to talk about the power of the names that we give ourselves, the names that we have, the identities that we create and that we take on. So my name is Evelyn Mirembe. My name Evelyn means mother of nations, and my name Mirembe means peace. So naturally, I like to be at peace in environments that I am, and when I'm faced with a decision or with a challenging situation, I usually like to go back to the place of peace. And once I lose my peace, I am literally unstable, I'm thrown off balance and all. And that's just a little bit about me. So why am I saying this? So many times we don't realize the power in the names that we carry. Now, in Africa, in Uganda specifically, we have so many tribes, so many languages around, and we are given names at birth that mean different things. So, in my country specifically, you'll find names like Mirembe, names like Mugisa, which means blessing, or Mukisa, which means blessing in a different tribe, or you'll find names like Asimwe for the Lord be praised, and different names. And every time that your name is sounded, it's like a declaration of what the meaning of the name means, right? So it's like I'm Mirembe. So every time somebody sounds Mirembe, it's like they're saying peace, 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 because that's what it means. Shalom. Shalom is another name, but it's also rooted in Greek, Jewish, Hebrew, one of those, that means peace and just wholesomeness. So every time your name is sounded, something prophetic is being declared in the meaning of your name. And that basically describes and carries your identity and just keeps declaring who you are and your identity over and over again. So what am I saying in all this? Mind your name. Mind the titles and the names and the definitions that you attach to yourself, that you attach to your identity. Here's another example. Earlier today, I was just seated at the table and I had chewing gum on the side, and my son comes and just picks the gum and he's like, "Oops, mommy, somebody stole your gum." No, he said, "Oops, a thief stole your gum." And I said, "No, my son snatched my gum away." And I think I'm more present to this because I've been in this whole transformational work and personal development. So my sensory acuity is very sensitive to words and descriptions and definitions that we say, that we declare out loud. So I immediately said to him, "No, my son has snatched my gum." And I said, "You're not a thief, because right there in his spoken word is an identity that he has attached to himself because of an action that he took." And that's just like a simple example. But how many times in life do we do something or find ourselves in a certain situation and then describe ourselves, define ourselves by that situation, basically? I started a business and I failed. Man, I'm such a failure. Business is not for me. Nope, I'm a failure in business. Or I got into a relationship and it didn't work and maybe they hurt me and I'm like, I am just not good with relationships, or I'm not lovable, or people just don't like me, or I attract the wrong people, I attract the wrong guys. And what we do is we attach these different identities to us based on circumstances and experiences that we've been through. And yet this is not really who we are. This is not truly who we are at the core. This is just an experience that happened independent of who we are. Get it? Yes, so what happens when you have a name that is given to you at birth, and it's a name that basically declares something negative? For example, one of the names in one of the Ugandan tribes is maybe Naku. Naku basically means suffering, or basically a name that describes something that is negative, like poverty, like the barren one, or um, the sorrowful one, or things like that. What happens when you have a name like this, and it's your name given to you at birth, and you grow up with it, and it's, you know, resounded every time they call you, and basically declared over and over again? So here's the thing. Things that initially we don't really have control over, guess what? As you grow up and come to the awareness of what this thing is, you have permission to change your name. Legally, it's a process that goes on, and you can actually change your name legally and call yourself by another name with a more empowering identity. So that's one. And then two, I'm reminded of a story in the Bible, of Rachel. Rachel was Jacob's love wife, and she was also the mother of Joseph in the Bible. So at the time of her death, she died in labor, and she was giving birth to this son who was later called, before I go there. So she's giving birth to a son, and then she had a really bad labor, hard labor, painful, and she ends up dying. And just before, like, she dies, she names the boy um, a name that means son of my sorrow. So immediately the dad changes the name and names him a more empowering name that means, I think, son of my right hand, something like that. Yeah, just check it out. And so she gives him a name. So initially the name was, I think, Ben Oni, which meant son of my sorrow. And then he names him Benjamin, which is son of my right hand, or strong right hand, or something like that. And he immediately changes it. So I remember reading this story and just thinking, how powerful is this? You know, even as parents, sometimes we give names to our children, sometimes based on the situation we're going through. Like, I'm going through a hard time, so I'll name my kid Hard Times, you know, or it's a time of famine, and then I'll name my child according to that season. Or we don't have money, we're broke, and therefore, you know, Naku, or something like that. But my charge to you is to have the awareness that a name actually carries identity that follows us around for the rest of our lives, for the rest of the time that we carry that name. Every time it's resounded, that identity is resounded over and over again, and eventually it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy in your life. You have permission to change your name at any time. You also have the ability and the power within you to define a new identity that you'd like to go by and to live by, and not be stuck in an old disempowering identity. I hope that was helpful for you, and let me know in the comments what your thoughts are and what names have come up for you as you name your child. What are you looking at? What are you thinking about? So just let me know, or write to me, and I'll be very happy to hear from you. Bye-bye.